Okay, so let's not muck about here. The most important skill that you need to succeed in education across the board, and in fact, and this is, I mean, high school, university, and even post-university, to be very successful, get very good grades, and in fact have a lot of enjoyment learning the subject, so you don't feel like it's just a constant struggle, is to cultivate the skill of being self-honest about your understanding. And now, what do I mean by this? I mean that when you encounter things that you do not understand, you take the time in the short term to understand them. And now this process is an individual process. So you encounter something you don't understand, let's say in mathematics. And when you encounter it, you have pretty much two options. You can understand it, you can take the time and do the intellectual work to understand that thing. And you'll know when you understand it. You'll know. You'll get it. You won't forget it. You grasp it in a deeper sense. And this is something you have to figure out yourself by doing this so much. So you can either do that, or you can sort of jump over that, which is easier in the short term, meaning you don't really get it, but you can use it. You can use it, but you don't really get it. So it's either this one or this one. Now, when you do understand it, what will happen is if you start doing this with many, many different things in the subject, you're gonna basically create an incredible foundation. And this foundation is really cultivated in the start when you're starting a subject. And the reason I know this is because I did this. This is something that came very naturally to me. I didn't have to actually force myself to do this. I just did this in mathematics and science. I basically, I don't know, I just had a fascination with the subject, so I couldn't really use anything that I didn't really understand. So I took the time at the beginning and cultivated the skill of when I encounter something, I figure it out. And it's not like there's something here and it's understood the same way by every person. No, this is an individual process. You have to understand it, and you're going to figure out your own mind in this process. How does your mind understand something, especially if it's complex or it's hard to understand? You're going to go through the intellectual work to understand this and really cultivate this skill. And this skill is so powerful in education, because if you're constantly doing this, you're going to have a really good understanding of the subject, and then you can start to learn more. So when you go deeper into the subject, when you get into university or you go into different things that use that subject, then you can really it can be a lot easier for you to learn even complex ideas, complex domains of the subject, things that are a lot harder, because your foundation is so good and you've cultivated the skill of being able to sort of learn how you understand something. And then you're going to get the enjoyment out of the subject, because you're going to be able to sort of see the subject as a whole, and you understand the subject as a whole, and you can see all these cool connections. And that's really the fruits of education, is when you get to that point. But that takes work at the beginning and constantly. That takes work, but it's definitely worth it, because then you get to enjoy the subject. If you go the other way, you're just going to be in a constant, I mean, initially it will be easier, but it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. You're going to understand less and less and less. You're going to be more and more confused, and you're just going to hate the subject at the end of it. You're not going to understand anything, and you're not going to get any enjoyment out of it, and you're just going to completely, I wasn't good at that. I'm not good at that subject. Or I don't see why people like that subject. That's what's going to happen if you do that. And you'll just be, you don't want that. We don't want that. Not on this channel. That's not what I want to promote. So you'll create that solid foundation, and you'll learn how you understand, and you'll get all the fruits and rewards from doing this. That's pretty much all I want to say. So yeah, the key skill is being honest about your understanding. When you're encountering something, and you'll notice yourself doing this, because in a sense, we're intellectually lazy. We're lazy. You know, it takes a bit of work for me to go and actually understand this and figure out, how the fuck do I understand it? How do I understand this? You know, especially if it's complicated, how do I understand this thing? And you're going to have to go through, maybe watch videos, read some stuff, figure it out yourself, just in general. You know, it's going to take some work. But if you do this over and over and over and over again, and keep doing this, and just have it as a natural thing that you do, then it's just going to snowball like crazy. And you know, it's going to be so incredible. You're going to get so much enjoyment out of learning about the subject because you just understand it, you get it, and so you can build upon this great foundation that you've set for yourself because you've put in the intellectual work, and so you deserve it. You deserve to get those fruits. So yeah, I would really recommend doing that and getting into the habit of doing this early on. In specifically, I mean, you should do it in general, but in specifically the subjects that fascinate you. You know, it doesn't have to be physics and mathematics, even in other subjects. You know, you do this and make sure you're doing this with all the new things, and you'll have plenty of chances to do this in education. You'll be getting bombarded with lots of different stuff that you don't understand. And so if you want to really learn and understand and see the amazement in a subject, you need to be doing this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you found this useful, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.